it's very difficult for us to, sometimes I think that while growing up years also, it's very difficult to adjust to a group of people. It took a lot of time. I think it took over 6 to 7 years to actually settle in.
And it goes without saying that in this day and age, in spite of having everyone around, they will still feel lonely. You will still feel that there are people not listening to you. I've been also judged for traveling alone and, spending time with myself, or I've been judged with respect to not replying back on phone calls.
When I started casting, I remember many of my actor friends were judging me. Why is Abhishek? Oh, he's become corrupt now. From marrying somebody who is 3 years older than me, from another religion, and so then the relatives would behave or react to that.
Welcoming the director-actor duo who are ready to leave us feeling a little tad bit sad, and also giving us a sense of how it feels like to be in a place where loneliness can get to you at some point, is Ashwiny Iyer Tiwari and Abhishek Banerjee. Welcome to Bollywood Bubble, both of you. Ashwiny ma'am, I want to start with you. That when you first thought of directing this thing, what's the kind of thought process that you had? Because it is not an easy film to make. It is not an easy emotion to put on screen, to make sure that the audience also feels that while they are watching, that sense of loneliness, that sense of, companionship that they miss. What was your process like when you were working on this?
Thank you for understanding that there was a lot of work which went into it. Yes, it is a very difficult film to shoot, is because at one point of time you actually you are looking at two point of views at one time, and also I need to thank Abhishek, is because he and me had to work along with each other hand in hand, is because he was also acting for her and he was acting for himself. It was almost like a three-dimensional kind of storytelling where there was also a camera which was working along, and so there was a lot of prep which went into, and it was actually, the prep was not about what angle I'm going to be shooting in, and of course you do your texts and you do all that, but this was not about that. It was actually very different. It was actually sharing a music scape with Abhishek and my cinematographer and my team. It was about quotes. It was about understanding the psychological aspect of what happens when a person is lonely. There's a difference between solitude and loneliness, and here it was about how a person feels lonely and what he seeks to achieve out of that, who he or she wants to talk to. And there's this thing that in spite of everyone being around, sometimes you do feel lonely, and this is what I was trying to achieve. And it was again and again, I think there was a lot of conversations between me and Abhishek, and
yes, lots of them.
We kept talking, is because it was very important to keep communicating and telling why are we doing this thing, why is this scene like this, and what you would like to achieve, what is the objective, what would I want. Like I said, it was 360. So I'm at one end, I am discussing and understanding the relationship between the protagonist here, Pradeep, who's Abhishek, with her, who's Pari, a world who may not understand this whole thing, but at the same time they themselves are going through this rut of loneliness, and at the same time I need to tell this whole story together in the form of colors, textures, cinematography, the background score, and the other characters, to an audience who needs to interpret it in their own way. But still make it whole as a story. So quite challenging.
Abhishek, for you, how difficult was it to get that emotion right and portray it on screen? Because every time you spoke to Pari, I could genuinely feel that, oh my God, how lonely he must be to really feel that, that need to have that conversation with a manic queen.
Yeah, I think I took cue from my life. I always take some kind of cue from my life in my character so that it becomes more relatable for me, and then
Hmm.
move ahead with the with performing the character. So I'm the only child in my family. So like
Hmm.
my mom and dad and me. So I never had anybody to talk to since childhood. So
Oh.
plus I come from like
I
my
add
dad is
that
a
even I'm a single child. Yeah.
yeah, and I
And
think single children, single kids, they always have this habit of talking to themselves
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
probably motivating themselves, probably having those big monologues internally because there's
Hmm.
nobody to talk to. Bhai Ben hai nahi. And and it's very difficult for us to sometimes. I think that while growing up years also, it's very difficult to adjust to a group of people because you're
Hmm.
not used to a big group.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and then of course, like in Bombay, it's even though you know a lot of people, even though you have a lot of friends who you would meet at social gatherings, but I don't know how many times do we really have or hold strong conversations. And that is why I love directors, because I think with directors you can have those conversations.
Hmm.
Even if it's for that moment, even if it's like,
Hmm.
as Ashwini ma'am was saying, that we used to talk a lot, and it was so much fun because you're genuinely going at work and also talking your heart out.
Because when you shifted to Bombay as well, there's an unsettling feeling which usually comes with it, right? How much time did it take for you to finally find your roots here and to finally accept Bombay as your own? Because it takes time.
It took a lot of time. I think it took over 6 to 7 years to actually settle in. The first 5 6 years, it was always that कि मैं दिल्ली से हूँ, दिल्ली से हूँ, I'm a Delhi boy, and
Huh.
I had my all theater batchmates in Bombay, so I would talk to them and chill with them. So I really didn't make any Bombay circle. And also when I was working as a casting, I started my casting company and started working as a casting director, I had this thing which I told Anmol also, that what, we'll just work and go back home. हम लोग ये parties में नहीं जाएंगे या हम लोग ये gatherings में नहीं जाएंगे. It's very easy for a casting director to get involved with all of that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
somehow never enjoyed that. Somehow always wanted the comfort of true friends.
Right.
And this happened in life, that the minute I was climbing the ladders of success, the minute I was probably coming closer to my dreams, I started realizing that now बहुत कम दोस्त बच गए. Some of them have left me, some of them
Hmm.
have, we have had issues, or that's why we don't talk, or the people change, and they change according to
That
time,
happens.
space, and everything.
Yeah.
That happens. And then you
Hmm.
start realizing that how lonely you are, because all these years you had your comfort space, you had your circle of friends, and suddenly you don't have them. And now what? Now who are you going to talk to? And I'm somebody who is a conversationalist. I love
Hmm.
talking to people. I love talking to strangers for that
Hmm.
matter. And I do
Hmm.
that because I think there is nothing like they don't know my background. They don't know
Yeah.
anything about me. So it's very easy to communicate with them.
Actually, for you as well, to get this sense and to create this environment, where did it stem from? From a personal experience, it has to be, because until and unless you feel it here, you can't get it out and show and make us relate to it as well, right? So what is it that left you unsettled, maybe in your journey, because you have taken some drastic steps in your life?
This particular story is about watching and rewatching again and again, is because every time you're going to be seeing it, you're going to feel something different, you're going to see something different which you might not see at the first go, is because it has a lot of layers, and the layers are touch points for various emotions in human behavior. We talk about loneliness. Yes, like Abhishek, I'm also a single child, so I've always been on my own, and I think I am kind of I'm happy with being my own companion, and doing my own things. But you will always have some kind of attachment to something. So my way of attachment was when I was spending time alone was to write journals, or put your thoughts in there. My journey was a lot of alone traveling, is because I just felt soulless in terms of um, walking and being with nature, or traveling to the mountains. So you do find at every aspect some partner in terms of, who would give you attachment from the real life. And it goes without saying that in this day and age, in spite of having everyone around, they will still feel lonely. You will still feel that there are people not listening to you or hearing you out, or even if you want to say the same thing, they may come across as, you're telling me the same thing again and again. And it will just be like, दो दिन पहले की बात है, like my mom called me and was telling me something, and I said that you just told me this yesterday and you're again telling me the same thing again today. And when I kept the phone because I was a little busy, and I realized that, okay, this exactly is what I'm trying to tackle in Ankahi right now. And I realized that maybe she wants someone to listen to her, and therefore she keeps telling the same thing again and again to various people so that someone can listen to her.
Now, but lastly, I want to know, because these guys, we don't have a lot of time. I want to know another thing that I at least perceived while I was watching was the judgment part of it. Whenever we see someone talking to themselves, or just like, being with themselves and everything, we have this thing that I think the shop owner says, "Ye pagal hai kya?" Yeah, there's a taboo which is attached to that as well. Whenever people don't try to understand why that person is being like that, but they are quick to judge that person for being a certain way. So I wanted to know from both of you, what were the kind of judgments that you faced perhaps in your life, in your journey, which perhaps bothered you at some point?
I think for me it is. I think for me it is about always choosing the path which I wanted to do. I kind of never heard any people about what I need to do. I have been quite I used to take my own decisions in terms of whatever I wanted to do in life, in terms of relationships, or even in terms of what I wanted to do with my career and everything. So those kind of judgments will always come in, is because anything which doesn't go according to a societal norm, or has not been told that this is the way it needs to be, and when you break that certain thing, for your own well-being, is when you will always be questioned. And so that is then it's about judging. I've been also judged for traveling alone and spending time with myself, or I've been judged with respect to not replying back on phone calls.
Yeah, small things. Yeah, I can imagine.
That is, I think that I've been judged on that all the time. Even today, I've been judged on that, is because I've been judged for not a relative's marriage. By my own mother, she has judged me, saying that you never attend, you don't want to be in touch with anyone. But that's not the case. It's not that. It's just that the prototype is a very different prototype, and some are very outgoing and extroverted, and I think I'm pretty introverted that way. So there are different kinds of. So you be judged for everything, that you never reply back. You never pick up the phone. You just switch off your phone whenever you feel like. That doesn't mean I don't care.
Yeah.
That's a kind of person.
Yeah, I can completely understand. These are the kind of similar judgments I also get sometimes when you say no to attending something. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you have so much attitude." Like, what is? Yeah, like, oh my God. Abhishek, for you, what were the kind of judgments that you had to battle?
I think, it started with my taking English honors in college, because my father wanted me to become an engineer. So, of course, him and his friends and his relatives, and it all became about them, and it was not about my choice. So the judgment started there, and then theater, and then acting, and then, of course, not getting it through, and then starting to cast and nobody understanding. So everybody, when I started casting, I remember many of my actor friends were judging me. Why is Abhishek? Oh, he's become corrupt now. He just wants money, and he's not really in it for the art. And I would always say that, I am in it for the art, but I also need money to survive in this world, because it's functioned like that. You can't, really work in a city like Bombay without money. So, for me, I had my own priorities. I had my own, from marrying somebody who is 3 years older than me, from another religion, and so relatives would behave or react to that. Two, wanting to become an actor. Like I remember, there was a time when somebody I met a friend's friend, and that friend was an actor, and his friend was like, she didn't know that I'm an actor, and she just asked me, "What do you do?" And I said that I'm an actor who is right now a casting director. And she's like, "Oh, you want to be an actor? Like, for acting you
Oh,
need like big body and all of that. And so why do you want to be an actor? Why aren't you doing all of that?" So the whole judgment of the society by putting you in a category that if you want to
yeah,
become an actor, you have to do a certain things and behave certain way or wear
true.
certain kind of clothes so that you can convince them that you're an actor. So all of those judgments have come my way, and they still come my way in day-to-day life, all the time. And I think we
Have
just
you
need to like
learned to have you learned to battle them, like, or to ignore them, just treat them as noise now?
no, I actually, so every time somebody says that somebody judges, I find them very naive. Because it comes
Hmm.
from that if you really do not understand or empathize or have the compassion, probably that's when you start judging. So you always have to give them those benefit of doubts and understand that okay, they are not in the same whatever like space where you are in, so
Yeah,
you need to continue doing what you are working and probably change their minds. So that change will happen, and that will be a beautiful change when they see you doing something and you are achieving or attaining what you want to attain. And
true.
then when they see and when they connect the dots, probably they will not judge the next person. So yeah, I
Probably.
mean, that's how I would deal with it.
But thank you, both of you. It was a lovely, lovely, and a very sort of introspective talk for me as well. I really enjoyed Ankahi Kahaniya, and I'm sure everyone who is going to watch it is going to enjoy it. Kudos to both of you for delivering such an important message and such an important film in today's time. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Really.
so much.
Thank you
Thank you so
so
much,
much, Bhavna.
Bhavna.
Lovely
Such
talking
a
to you.
sweet
Lovely talking to you.